Okay, so hi everyone. Okay, I'm kind of nervous because this is my first attempt at YouTubing, and I looked for a private space so that I can talk about something that's actually pretty I don't know, I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about this to anyone near me, especially my own family, but I feel like it's important for us to have good conversations about it. So here goes nothing. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Virta, that's Virta, Virta. Yeah, so my name's Indonesian, and if you want to pronounce it as Virta or something like that, it's up to you. But in Indonesian, it's pronounced as Virta. Anyways, I'm starting my YouTube channel, and this is exciting because, one, as I've told you before, I've never had a YouTube channel before. Two, um, I'm doing this hopefully for a cause. So as you can see, the title, the name of this channel is Islamic Marriage Stories, right? And it's actually pretty obvious by now what we're going to talk about, but but I think I should talk a little bit about why that name and why I decided to make this YouTube channel and why I decided that I wanted to start this series. Okay, the name. Why Islamic Marriage Stories? Because this channel is going to talk about just that, Islamic marriage stories. And when I say Islamic marriage stories here, I don't mean stories from I don't know, from the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or the time of times before our own times. I'm talking about now, like the 21st century. I'm talking about our timeline, you know. I personally think that in my own experience, learning about the topic of marriage in an Islamic frame, yeah, of course there are good lectures out there that prepare you for marriage. There are good lecturers that talk about this topic, right? That give lectures about this topic, that give lectures about this topic, and also scholars who share a perspective of fiqh about this topic, and so on and so forth, and like stories about the Sahabat, the companions of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and their marriages. But I think it's pretty scarce that we as an ummah in the 21st century actually talk about our practices in the marriage, in our context, in our timeline, you know. And I feel like that's what's lacking, you know. A contextual story about marriage, about Islamic marriage in the 21st century, because I don't know about you, but whenever I see stories about Islamic marriages, people usually talk about, I don't know, polygyny, the practice of polygyny, and then on one spectrum, on the bad spectrum, they would talk about bad practices of polygyny, and then you have domestic violence, and then you have sexual abuse, and then you have adultery. Like, okay, that happens in marriages, but do they always happen? I mean, yeah. Statistically, I hope that they're not that common. And on the other side of the spectrum, there are influencers, Islamic influencers, who share about their marriage in their highlight reel, you know, like on Instagram or on TikTok or YouTube or other social media platforms. Like they share, oh, we just got a new baby, we just got a home. It's usually the case that Islamic influencers on social media only share the glamorous mostly only share the glamorous and happy parts of their marriage. But we don't often get to see the wisdom, the lessons, the hardships of marriage, right? And I think in between lectures, Islamic lectures, in between stories about the bad stories from the bad spectrum, like domestic violence and all that, and then the glamorous, good, happy ending spectrum, like what the Islamic influencers show us. We don't really get that nuanced view of what it is that we need to expect, what it is that really actually happens, the lessons that we actually go through as an ummah going through marriage in the 21st century, right? And that's where me in this channel, that's where I try to fit the market need. What do you say? How do you say that in economy? I don't know. The market gap, I guess. That's the market gap that I'm trying to fill with this channel. Like, personally, as a person who's going to turn 23 soon, I think I would find it very useful if a bunch of adults who have already been married for a good amount of time, who has been in a good marriage for a good amount of time, to share their wisdom to me, about marriage, about family life in the 21st century. As a Muslim, I think that would be very, very, very useful for me, trying to set my expectations, try to prepare myself about what's going to come, and that's basically why I wanted to create this channel and this series. So yes, I will release the first interview after this video, God willing, inshallah. And hopefully I will learn some things myself about marriage in this century as a Muslim. And also I hope that you will also learn something and contribute something. Oh, and also I really want this platform to be like a platform where we can have a good conversation about marriage, about Islamic marriage, because I don't know, I haven't actually found a platform where you can productively do that as an international ummah, okay. So the reason why I'm Indonesian but I'm speaking in English is because I want this channel to be accessible to many Muslims around the world. And the reason I use English is because I guess a lot of people and Muslims in the world speak English, so I chose it to be that way. But in the future, I hope that I can include subtitles in, I don't know, in Indonesian, Arabic, Malaysian, Malay, French, some on other languages that Muslims might speak. So yeah. Also, the main goal, the essence of this channel is to shed a positive yet realistic light to the practice of Islamic marriage in the 21st century. And what I mean by a positive yet realistic light is exactly what I have described before. Like, we usually only get stories, like most of the time I only hear bad stories or like really good stories. So in the bad stories aspect, like, it kind of scares us about the concept of marriage, right? And on the other hand, we get stories from influencers who don't really paint the full picture of marriage, so it's not really realistic, right? That's the main goal, being shedding a positive yet realistic light about the practice of Islamic marriage in the 21st century, and also to become a good positive place for Muslims, especially young Muslims or just Muslims alike, to talk about marriage. That's it. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in to this first video of mine. Sorry if it's not so professional yet. Hopefully I can improve with time. Also, if you or your parents are willing to be interviewed about the topic of marriage, you can hit me up. I will include my email in the description box below, where you can email me and we can get in touch for your interview. And I guess that's it. So, Assalamu alaikum. Also, disclaimer, I am not a scholar, nor am I claiming this channel to be a channel of scholarship or like a channel of lectures. It's just, you know, us Muslims being raw humans sharing our practices of marriage in the 21st century. So yeah, exactly the name, Islamic Marriage Stories, not Islamic Marriage Lectures.